Ant and Dec here. Now, just like everyone else, we've spent the last few months socially distancing to help stop the coronavirus from spreading. But it's not just friendships that are suffering. Thank you. This is Buddy. Hiya, Buddy. Now, Buddy normally spends his time travelling around schools doing assemblies with his partner in crime, Sally from the NSPCC. They gave children information about what to do if they're going through things that are hard to deal with. You might have seen them visiting your school. Over to you, Dec.
Hi, Buddy. Buddy and his buddies from the NSPCC haven't been able to do any assemblies, and at the same time there's a whole load of new things for people to worry about, like not seeing your friends and family or being concerned about catching the virus. So when Buddy and the NSPCC asked us to help to find a way to get the message out there, we put our heads together to come up with a plan.
We'll broadcast an assembly on the internet and get Sally from the NSPCC to present it.
Great idea. Let's call Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Is that Ant and Dec?
It certainly is. Now, how do you feel about doing a special NSPCC Speak Out, Stay Safe assembly over the internet? It'll just be like a normal assembly, but with a lot more children from all across the country watching online.
We're up for it, but I haven't got a buddy.
Oh, well, now you have. Incoming!
Oh, hello.
Sorry, David. I think we must have got some crossed lines. We were trying to get Buddy to Sally from the NSPCC, who's doing a very special Speak Out, Stay Safe assembly.
Ooh, sounds fun. Well, I guess you'll be wanting me to be your fancy pants presenter. How hard can it be, guys? Are we sitting comfortably? Then let us begin. Over to you, Sally.
Thanks, David. Hi, Buddy. And hi, everyone. Welcome to the NSPCC Speak Out, Stay Safe Assembly here online. Buddy and I are from a charity called the NSPCC, and we go all over the UK speaking to children about how to speak out and stay safe. So, you've met Buddy, our mascot, but what do you think he looks like? That's right, he's a green speech bubble. And Buddy's a green speech bubble because he believes all children have the right to speak out and stay safe. Don't we, Buddy? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about some children's worries and how they can speak to trusted adults about them, and we'll also talk a little bit about Childline. Some of you might already know the Childline number, so we'll get a chance to practice that again later. And we'll talk about the Childline website, which some of you may have looked on before, but we'll have a little bit more of a detailed look into that too. Does that sound like a plan? Great. Buddy and I usually go around to schools across the UK, but as we know, things have been a little bit different recently. So, hands up though, if when we've been visiting before, if you've met Buddy. Wow, that's lots of you. Now, some of you might be watching this at home and some of you might be watching it in school. And if you are in school, is it feeling a little bit different to normal? The schools have changed recently and things have been closed and we've had to stay home a lot more. That's because of a virus called COVID-19 or coronavirus. It's a new virus that's affecting people across the world, and it sometimes affects people's lungs and airways. The symptoms include a very high temperature and a cough that you've never had before. It doesn't seem to impact children as much as it impacts older people and people that are already feeling very unwell. Most people that get the coronavirus fully recover without even having to go to the doctor. And experts here in the UK and across the world are currently working on treatments and ways to keep people safe. The coronavirus has changed our lives in many different ways. We've had to stay at home more. We've not been able to see our friends or family. Not all children are going to school, and family and friends are having to keep in touch online. Our daily routines have changed, and we're spending a lot more time with the people we live with. This can make us feel lots of different emotions. Some people may be feeling really happy as they're trying new things, and other children may be feeling quite worried and anxious, which is completely understandable at this time and need someone to talk to. It's really important if a child feels worried or sad, they have someone to talk to. Over the last few weeks, we've got a lot of contacts at Childline from children that are feeling worried or anxious. Let's take a look at my sack. Who can tell me what they think this looks like? Is it heavy? Is it light? That's right, it's light. I can fold this up, pop it in my pocket and walk around all day and not even know it was there. What I want to do is I'm going to put a brick inside the sack for every worry that we can think of and see if it makes a difference to how heavy it is. Does that sound okay? Brilliant, let's start. So, I was in my last year at school and I didn't get to say goodbye to my friends. That's really worrying, isn't it? I don't know when I'm going to see my friends again. I get really scared that this could go on for months. Not knowing when it's going to finish is a really, really unsettling feeling, isn't it? My granddad lives on his own and I'm really worried about how he looks after himself. I'm really worried my grandma's going to get the virus. I think that's a really worrying feeling. That'll make anyone feel worried. Let's pop that in there. My sack is getting a lot heavier now. My dad works in the hospital and I'm really worried that he will get sick. My sisters are bullying me and I have to stay home. That is not okay, is it? No, me and Buddy don't think bullying is okay. There have been lots of arguments at home and I find it really upsetting. Maybe you have other worries too that we've not mentioned here. Everyone is different and reacts in different ways, but there's help out there for you too. You can see now that my sack is really, really, really heavy. Can you imagine how hard that must be for a child or young person walking around with all of those worries? That wouldn't be very good, would it? Not having anyone to talk to or return to. Let's see if we can lighten the load, shall we? Take a minute and think of some trusted adults in your life that could help lighten the load. Everyone we mention, I'm going to take a brick out of the sack. Does that sound like a good idea? Brilliant. Okay. So, trusted adults. What trusted adults can we think of? A parent or carer would be a good one. Yes, fantastic. A parent or carer, our first brick out of the sack. A grandparent, and if you can't see them at the moment, you can talk to them on the phone or use the laptop. A teacher or a member of staff. If you're at school, you can speak to them, can't you? Auntie or uncle. An auntie or uncle is a good one. It's really important if we do have an auntie or uncle, they're over the age of 18. A brother or sister. A brother or sister is a brilliant one, as long as they're over the age of 18. A neighbour. A neighbour is a really, really good one as well, especially as we're at home so much at the minute, so that's a great one. Oh, it's getting lighter. A social worker or a counsellor. If you can't see them face to face, you could always try and phone them. Oh, my last one, last but not least, Childline. Childline is there for all children. Fantastic. Wow, look at the difference in my sack. We've emptied it, we've thought of trusted adults children can speak to, and my sack has gone back to being light again. If some of your trusted adults aren't at home at the moment, you could always try calling them or even sending them a message. It's natural to be worried about what's happening in the world at the minute. So it's really important if they feel anxious, worried, sad, to tell a trusted adult. It's never ever a child's fault. And if you do tell a trusted adult and nothing changes, keep speaking out. Tell another trusted adult until something changes. If you can't think of any trusted adults or you can't talk to them for any reason, you can always contact Childline. Childline is a service for children and young people to contact, and it's only for them. If they're scared or worried about anything, children contact Childline for all sorts of reasons. Whatever the worry, Childline will listen carefully and trust whatever you say. No problem is too big or too small. What a child says to Childline stays with Childline. The only times I'd ever share what a child has said to Childline is if they're really worried or concerned about them, or if the child asks them to. It doesn't happen very often, and they don't do it without being really sure that it's the best thing for the child. You can get in touch with Childline by phone or online and speak to Childline about anything you want to. You don't even have to give your name if you don't want to. The number's really, really easy to remember. Should we do it together? I'll try it first, then we'll do it together, shall we? Brilliant. Okay, so it's 08001111. Simple. Are you ready to do it with me? After 3. 1, 2, 3. 080001111. Fantastic. It's free to call, so you don't need any credit on your mobile phone if you want to call. And it's completely confidential, it won't show up on your phone bill. Due to the coronavirus, the times have changed slightly, so it's now open 9 AM till midnight. So you can call any time between 9 AM and midnight. On the Childline website, there's lots and lots of different information. If you haven't been on there before, definitely have a look. It's childline.org.uk/kids. The website is full of information about the coronavirus, but also different tools to help if you're feeling worried or anxious. Sometimes we know that children feel worried about contacting Childline because they don't know what's going to happen. We've put together a short film for you to look at so you completely understand what would happen if you contact Childline. Are you ready to have a look at it with me? Fantastic.
I reckon I can chat to anyone about anything. Well, almost anything. My mum says I could talk the hind leg of a donkey, whatever that means. But I had this problem. I couldn't work out how to get rid of it. It just seemed to keep getting bigger and bigger in my head, and I didn't know who I could talk to. There was Mum, of course. She's good at advice. And my teachers too, some of them are okay. And if I felt really stuck, or if it was an emergency, I knew I could even go to the police. But for now, I wanted to keep things to myself, so I thought I might speak to Childline. I'd heard you could talk to them about anything. The only thing was I wasn't sure how I should talk to them. I mean, who would I be talking to? What would happen? And would anyone else get to know about it? I didn't want the whole world knowing my business. So I went on the Childline site and found loads of information. Like I saw that it was completely free. And you can talk to Childline online as well as call them. It works the same way as on the phone. It's just that you're typing instead of talking. Either way, I'd be in charge of what was said and what would happen next. They weren't going to go passing it on, so I could trust them with as much or as little as I wanted. I could even give them a different name if it made it easier. I thought about chatting online, but I guess I find it easier to talk about stuff, so I decided to phone. I checked when I could call, and it said any time, so I just went for it. After I dialed the number, I suddenly felt I was thinking about hanging up. But I'd come this far, so what did I have to lose? Then someone answered. This man went, "Hi, you're through to Childline." "I've got this problem," I said. "I don't think anyone will understand." "Would you like to talk to someone about it?" he said. "Yeah," I said, "but I don't want anyone to find out." He said that was fine. The call would just be between me and the counsellor, unless they got worried I was really in danger. That might change things. That made sense. So he said he'd put me in a queue to talk to a counsellor. All I had to do was stay on the line. So I waited, and I was starting to feel like I shouldn't have called. I felt a bit sick. But after a while, this woman, the counsellor, came on the line. I couldn't get my words out at first. It's not like me. But she said, "Don't worry, take your time." So I told her all about it. She was great. She didn't talk much to start off, she just let me say everything. I asked her, "So what do you reckon I should do?" She asked me if I had any ideas, and we started talking again. We figured out that I had some choices, and they could all work out in different ways. I could see there was something I could do to change stuff after all. That was amazing. Just doing that, all of a sudden it felt like I had a plan. It wasn't like I'd made an idiot of myself, and I hadn't blabbed to the entire world. The call wouldn't even appear on the phone bill. It felt like I was in charge, and that I could really trust them. They just listened, and helped me decide what I wanted to do. It felt great.
Childline is open between 9 AM and midnight at the moment. That's really important to remember. All children have the right to speak out and be heard, be safe and get help when they need it. I think that's fair, don't you? What have we talked about today? Buddy, can you remember? What have we talked about today? We talked a lot today about trusted adults and how important it is to keep speaking out and stay safe. We've talked about Childline and the different ways you can speak to them about your worries. We've been talking about what's happening to help remind ourselves that we're not alone. Every day at the NSPCC, we work really hard to keep children safe, and then there are a lot of different ways that you can help too. You can do your bit by looking out for all children, by telling everyone to speak out and stay safe. So, let's do this together. After 3, we're going to point to ourselves and we're going to say, "I have the right to speak out and stay safe." 1, 2, 3. I have the right to speak out and stay safe. Now, I want you to point to anybody else you're in the room with and say you have the right to speak out and stay safe after 3. 1, 2, 3. You have the right to speak out and stay safe. Now, all together, thumbs in the air, I want us to say it as loud as we can. We all have the right to speak out and stay safe. After 3, 1, 2, 3.
We all have the right to speak out and stay safe.
Before we wrap up, we've managed to get some time with Vicky Ford, the Minister for Children and Families from the government. Anne and Dec have some questions to put to her around some of the worries and concerns that many of you are feeling at this time. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Sally. Hello, Minister. Thank you for making the time to answer these questions. Let's get to it. Elkie, aged 10, asked, will Christmas be postponed?
No, Elkie, Christmas is a really exciting time for so many people and lots of us are already looking forward to it, even though it's the middle of summer. But coronavirus is the biggest challenge we've faced for a really long time, and it's meant we've had to change how we all live our lives. And that's why we've all had to make these big changes, like staying at home and not seeing family and friends in person, and for lots of children, not being able to attend school as normal. It's also been a really sad time for some people of different religions who've missed celebrating festivals with their friends over this period. Festivals like Passover and Easter and Eid. But thanks to the changes you and your family have made over the past few months, we've managed to slow down the spread of the virus. And that means we're now beginning to recover and we can hopefully get back to our normal ways of life as soon as possible. But we know that beating coronavirus is going to take months, not weeks. And that's why everyone must stay alert and follow the rules for a bit longer so that we can go back to living normally and celebrating together as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Minister. Our next question is from a boy aged 11 who asked, I'm finding it hard to do my schoolwork at home. Our flat is really small and noisy and it's hard to concentrate, and my friends are always asking me to play games online. What should I do?
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you're finding it a challenge to get your schoolwork done when you're at home. And I know that not being able to go into school and learn with your teachers is really difficult. It's been a huge change for lots of children over the past few months. But there is lots of support available to help you whilst you have to stay at home, and we've invested over £100 million to support learning at home. Some children and families find that it helps to agree a timetable of when you plan to do your schoolwork and when you'll be doing other things. And that means that everyone in your home knows when you need quiet time for your work each day. And there's also lots of help you can get online. We've set up a partnership with BBC Bite Size on a brand new education package full of helpful resources. And you can watch that right now on TV, on iPlayer, or online at BBC Bite Size. And then there's also the Oak National Academy. And this is an online classroom where you can find lots of different learning resources and activities in different subjects and for different year groups. But we also know that not everyone has access to the internet. So we've been working to provide internet access, laptops and tablets for some children who need them. But it's also really important to have fun and to spend time with your friends, and we all have to find ways to do that safely online whilst it's not possible to see our friends in person. So when you finish your schoolwork, then it is good to spend time chatting and playing games with your friends.
Thank you, Minister. Our next question is from Amir, aged 11, who asked, should children and teachers get tested before returning to school and seeing their families so that schools can have a coronavirus-free atmosphere?
Amaya, that's a great question. And we want to keep you and all children and your teachers and your parents as safe as possible when schools open more widely. And that's why you'll notice that your school looks a bit different when you return. And this is to make schools as safe as possible. And everyone with symptoms of coronavirus, such as a temperature or cough or difficulty tasting and smelling things, can get a test if they need one. Even very young children, younger than you, who are under the age of 5, can now be tested. But the test works best for people who are experiencing the coronavirus symptoms. So it's really important that we focus on making sure that those people get tested first. So, of course, if you have symptoms, or if you're living with someone with the symptoms of coronavirus, then it's really important that you get the test as soon as possible and that you don't attend school. And if you have symptoms, then the test will show whether it's coronavirus that's making you feel unwell or something else. And if you test negative, then you can go back to school. But if you test positive, you'll need to stay at home until you are better. And the government is also working on another type of test. That's the antibody test. And this test will see if people have already had coronavirus. And that test will also play an important part in helping us tackle the virus in the future.
Next up, we've got this one from Tilly, who's aged 10. She asks, how long before we can hug our friends again? Great question.
Thank you, Tilly. That's a really important question. And it's very similar to another question we had from Manny, who's age 7, who asked when his friends, Jean and Raphael, can come for a play date. So I want to talk about both of those things. You know, our friends are really important in all our lives. Our friends make us feel happy and more confident. And I know how difficult it has been not to be able to see and play with friends recently. But the government has a plan for how we can all return to normal, and there are 5 different tests which have to be met so that this can happen safely. And the tests are things like how fast the virus is spreading and how well our hospitals can cope if they have more patients. And we are making huge progress, and that's why some schools were able to open to more pupils in reception year 1 and year 6 earlier this week. So if you're in year 6 and returning to school this week, you'll have had the chance to see some of your teachers and friends again. However, it's still very important to stay safe and protected when you are at school. And that's why we're asking everyone to still keep some distance between each other, which means it's better not to hug just yet. You know, we've come a long way in fighting the virus and taking those first steps in getting back to normal. And that's why you see some of the restrictions that we've all experienced being able to change slightly, including more children being able to come back to school. But there is still more to do, and we all still have a really important role in trying to stay safe. And that means we need to continue to keep a safe distance from people we don't live with so we don't risk spreading the virus. So for a while longer, please don't hug your friends or have them round to play inside your house.
Thank you, Minister. Our last question is from a boy aged 10 who says, I've been feeling really sad since lockdown. My family argue all the time and I can't ever get away. It's really getting me down and I don't know what to do.
It must be so hard for you to be feeling sad. You know, it's a really difficult time for everyone at the moment. And I know that many of you and your families will be finding it very stressful. We do all need a bit of help coping sometimes, and looking after our mental health is really important. And that's why we shared some advice online for families on supporting their mental health. And that includes how we think about doing fun things, as well as dealing with the difficult and sad things that many of us will be facing at the moment. But it is normal to feel sad sometimes, especially when you're facing challenges. So please remember, if you do feel sad, you're not alone. you don't have to keep your feelings to yourself if you're upset or anxious or worried. There are people there to support you and to talk to you about how you're feeling. And that might mean finding an adult that you trust, maybe a parent, a relative, or a teacher, and talking to them about how you feel. But if that doesn't feel like the right thing for you to do, or if it's too difficult, then you can also call Childline. Their phone number is 0800 1111, or you can go to the Childline website where there's a lot of helpful things, like there's message boards, there's a calm zone with activities and games, and there's the Ask Sam, where you can express your feelings and ask any questions you like. But one more really important message: if you are in immediate danger and you need help right now, then you should call the police on 999 and ask for the police to come and give you help.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister. Thanks for your time.
We hope you've enjoyed this special broadcast of our Speak Out Stay Safe Assembly. Remember, you can contact Childline about anything, however big or small. You can contact them on phone or using our online chat, and they'll be ready and waiting to listen to you. You can get in touch at childline.org.uk/kids or call a counsellor on 0800 1111. For any parents, carers or supporters that have watched today, we'd greatly appreciate any donations that you can make. It's very simple to do on our Facebook page or our website. And remember, all children have the right to speak out and be heard, be safe and get help when they need it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.